We are live. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We are day 35 of 365 days of guitar practice. If you're brand new, I'm JWills, and I am an old dude getting back into music and learning guitar for 22 years from scratch. Today is day 35 in a row. So, and all of you new subscribers, holy cow, that number just keeps going up. All of you wonderful souls for following along and hitting that button and letting me torture your ears for the next year, because some of it has been torturous. A few moments of goodness. And all of you returning subscribers, you know the deal. Intro, I was about to say I've been doing guitar fiddle-diddling with the Predator all afternoon. And those of you who know the Predator, I think she sounds different on this go-around. We're going to hit the intro, and if you're brand new, first video ever, how this rolls, I am JWills, and we hit an intro song, which is rough. I'm very much a beginner, but it's kind of cool. And then I go through all the comments, and if you are nice enough to leave a comment, I will go through it the next day and address that and acknowledge that. So, first things first, I think the Peavey sounds a lot better. I realized I have to get some luthier. I looked that word up, fine. It's called a luthier. Get some tools. Stu Mac, funny how that works. The phone's listening, right? As I'm fiddle-diddling, trying to get a socket into that truss rod, I suspect they have truss rod nut adjusters. And also the nut up here as well. I'm going to have to get into that little world because I am still not, it's pretty darn close, and she sounds a lot different. I'll let you guys see if you can tell the difference. I think it sounds different anyway. It's cleaner. The intonation is way better. It was way off. Anywho, enough yapping. Hit the old button. Gotta have distortion. Back to the channel, everyone. I think she sounds a lot different. We're gonna go through I adjusted all kinds of stuff. String height, the pickup height, truss rod as much as I could without really, I need to adjust the nut. That needs a little bit of little sawing action, but I want to put I think I'm just gonna put a whole new, these little holders that hold been in the rabbit hole on YouTube, of course, in the background while I'm fiddling. And someone said in their video that, and I was like, hey, my guitar doesn't have that. I'll plug you for right now. Is the extra, because I have a little hold down for these top two strings. And the guy, I can't remember which video it was. I've had so many different videos I've been watching. Talked about locking these other two down, because his guitar had that. And I was like, well, that's a pretty good idea, because it helps with keeping the string on the nut, which totally makes sense. I don't know why they just don't put them across on everything. I mean, yeah, this one here really doesn't need it here, but I mean, these two here from just like a guy line perspective, you know, but definitely this guy here could do for that, and the other one here. So yeah, anywho, rock and roll. Let's see some comments real quick, and then we're just gonna jam. That's kind of what they've been jamming. These sessions have been, is just jamming, but there's been a little bit of chord work and whatnot in there. That's pretty much what keeps me coming back. All right. So at IROC 5150, chords are like leg day on the gym you skipped. It's so true. That is so true. 100%. Inca Cal 71. Wait, did I just hear I don't know who Tesla is? Banned from the Sacramento area. Hoo-hoo. I have a funny story on this. I'm sure when you check them out, you've heard their song before, like Signs, Love Song. Such a great band. And by the way, I know you're from Concord because you held up your Guitar Center receipts the other day and it said Concord on it. Yeah. Oh, there's that, you know. Boy, someone really zoomed in on that video. I have to have glasses to see that shit. So the Tesla, my brain just was not thinking about that era. I thought it was like maybe a new metal band or something. I was like, oh, okay, because I've been getting a lot of recommendations for like different metal bands, and I just automatically assumed it was that. Yes, I know who Tesla is. That was one of my favorite early bands, with the mix of Eddie Van Halen, Skid Row, Warrant, Tesla, Motley Crue, like all of those big hair bands I actually love. And The Great Radio Conspiracy, that album was my first Tesla album, actually, ironically enough. So yeah, I know, but I know, here, look, I'm from Nebraska, bro. And that doesn't mean anything necessarily. It just means that from a small country boy raised on a dairy farm in Nebraska, I didn't have a lot of exposure to where the bands come from. I really at that time just didn't think to know where they came from. I was more just enjoying the music, and I was so young and naive, Jesus. But yeah, so I know who they are. Don't scold me too much. But they're awesome band, absolutely. At Marty McFly, all right, mate, it's time to give us a proper answer. Haha, what bands do you listen to? I know you mentioned Deftones and Corns, but hit us with some more. All right, because it's a Saturday night. Oh man, I should have grabbed a beer. You know what? We're gonna grab beer because it's just that time. And yes, you're always going to see different kinds of beer because I change it up all the time. Sometimes I get nostalgic. I'm in a bit nostalgic mood. A buddy of mine used to drink Budweiser back in Nebraska. Ooh. We'll let that fuzz and make a mess over there. Oh yeah, it's one of the frozen ones. Fantastic. Of course I had to grab that one. You know, it's real. All right, so bands... Jeez. So, favorite bands of all time are probably going to be Soundgarden's. I love Chris Cornell and anything to do with him. So I'd say Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, of course Nirvana. But Soundgarden and Alice in Chains were like my two that I like Metallica too, but like those two were my probably two most played CDs. This is just making a clot. You hear that? Yeah, this is a frozen beer. I didn't realize that was one of the frozen ones that I accidentally forgot in the fridge. Oh, well, that's going to make a mess there. Perhaps grab a new beer. And then, geez, so Skid Row, Ozzy Osbourne. So I'd say my biggest rotations were the No More Tears album of Ozzy Osbourne, Facelift, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden's Bad Motorfinger. Those three got heavy rotation in my old truck back in the day. With my friend Mark, who was about 10 years older, this dude who had he had a little Honda Accord. He's kind of like, I won't call him an outcast in the town, but no one liked him because he had a little Honda Accord, badass Alpine system in his car. And that's where I got tuned into the whole car stereo world, which is a whole nother rabbit hole that I went down. And he turned me on to, I remember listening to Skid Row, Warrant, Rat. I loved Rat. Oh my God. Rat was a big album or band that circulated through. His car played 80s big hair band, like metal or just rock so well. It was awesome. And then as I went into the 90s, I was because I was in high school, and then the whole different Deftones and Korn started coming out, and those bands, and I was like, what is that? And that kind of rolled into so today, Hell Yeah is something I stumbled across recently. I don't say recently, but during that kind of mid 2000s. What else? Jeez. I'm trying to think. Puddle of Mud was in there. That's actually, we covered the little band I was in for a hot minute. We covered Puddle of Mud. We also covered Foo Fighters, again, awesome band. I loved Everlong. I used to be able to like half-ass play that on bass. I can't even remember that song now. But I have such a wide, okay, most recently, Dinosaur Pilot, My Way. If you haven't checked it out, go look. That's a, number one, it's got great guitaring. I love the sound of the guitar. And it's just a fun song, cool guitaring, called Dinosaur Pileup. I'm sure most of you probably heard of it. If not, it's called My Way. I kind of go all over the place when it comes to music, and then metal, like hardcore metal, I'm not, like, I've heard of a little bit of Meshuggah. I couldn't name anything off the top of my head. I'm also not I'm not much like my brother was, and he would memorize everything. Like, he had an absolute insane memory for stuff like that. Me, depends on what it is. So it kind of goes all over the place, but definitely, yeah, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Ozzy Osbourne are my first three favorites. Probably still are, but there's so many new awesome bands out there these days that I'm like, ooh, I like that one, or like, that's my new favorite, or that's my new favorite, There's just a lot of them out there that are really awesome. So a long-winded comment is to say that's some of them. If I was to populate a list, it'd be pages long of the stuff that I've loved over the years and that influenced me. I stumbled across, and I'll get into that in a sec, old school kind of like early 90s, I guess, or is it, I don't know, late 80s, Dire Straits stuff that I stumbled across, just fiddle-diddling on the guitar. All right, let's see. Next one, at Roger Tinker, when I went through a new camera and Try It Tuesday, most excellent. Oh, thanks, brother. Yeah, the Try It Tuesday, I actually have a book coming. And again, for anybody who are brand new and new subscribers, I'm not a guitar coach or a guitar teacher. This is just an old dude struggle busting his way back into getting into music, writing music, and eventually playing in a band, creating a band. I'm not sure, but we have a whole year to figure it out, and longer, because I'm not going to stop doing this at the end of a year for sure. I have a lot of equipment that I need to get hooked up. Each day is a little bit different as far as time-wise, and so today was all about getting the Predator situated because I wanted to get that guitar set up. So it is a work in progress. At Sick9945 said, welcome back. Oh, you guys, welcome back. I appreciate you guys coming back. If you haven't listened to any Gojira, I think you should. I saw a short of probably pronouncing it wrong, Gojira, and a while back, and I was like, that's some awesome chuggy metal stuff. It's awesome. They're pretty heavy, but their guitar isn't uber technical, but sounds so heavy and chuggy. Yeah, have a good weekend, man. Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was very chuggy. And at Mark Cal Alexander Bauer 1651. If you don't like this is on which are you commenting on? Oh, day 29. If you don't like the guitar, send it to me. I'm excruciatingly poor. Sorry to hear that, brother. Maybe I've been there too. Maybe some money. I'm a music producer in the making, but I'm invalid and have no money. Please help. Well, my friend, no one's invalid. I'll tell you that right there. You are your human existence loving guitars makes you valid. And the fact that you're trying to produce music and wanting to go down that route, you are absolutely valid, brother. Don't let anyone or any mental things tell you otherwise, okay? As far as, I love all my guitars, and we've all been excruciatingly poor. It all comes down to supplementing your passion project with real things that you can monetize from yourself. And meaning that, I do general contracting and construction. I didn't always do this. But there's always a job or ways to go out and find, to bridge that temporary gap in your life. You know what I'm saying? So, we've all been well, not all of us, but many of us have been excruciatingly poor, eating tuna, ramen noodles, have been there, done that. But yeah, dude, so I hope everything works out, and always keep that passion for music, because I went away from it for 22 years and I found that was a very large missing part of my soul. And that is for my own, because we all have, our mental health is a real thing for all of us. And that is my way of keeping me healthy on that front. Music just does something in my soul that's just awesome. So, all right, I think that's all the comments for this evening. And again, all of you brand new subscribers, thank you so much for banging on that. The number just keeps going up. I made a random off-the-cuff comment a few videos back because I stumbled across Eddie Van Halen, the iconic amp series, which is fucking awesome, by the way. I've seen so many videos of that amp now. I'm just like, I want that amp. And I randomly said if I hit 1,000 subs, not that I'm chasing anything, this is just a fun little passion project for myself. And I also want to parlay this into music making, and it'd be kind of cool a year or two from now that I have some songs and this is my beginning. So I made a comment about if I hit 1,000 subs, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe at the end of a year, maybe, right? At the rate this is going, it might be a few months, which is kind of bonkers. And I'm so thankful. A quick pause to say how thankful I am for all of you letting me torture your eardrums and tag along and just being awesome guitar-loving souls, because that's what you are. All right, so let's jam on the Peavey some more. And you got to check out, and I know a lot of you dudes, if you're over the age of 50, you're probably going to be like, I recognize that. Now, I promise I didn't look up the tab on this. I'm going to and see if I can figure out the rest of the song. But as you know, as most of you returning folks know, I like to just jam around. And in my morning session yesterday, and then again last night, I was like, oh, I kind of hit it again. This morning's morning session, I totally hit it. And I'm like, that's totally Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. Or at least that's how it started. Check this out. Now, this is not a cover. This is not tabbed properly, but I stumbled across this. And all that to say is, what I have been finding, and a lot of you guys are like, well, yeah, no, that's just part of the learning process, is so many, as I'm going through and just kind of fiddling around and exploring, I'm like, ooh, that's a song from, possibly. So check this out. This is just awesome. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Something like that. But I was like, oh, that's just a couple of open strings. And there's a timing thing, and I can't quite remember how the song goes. That is just a handful of like two strings. Oh, wait. That's another one. Oh shit. And that's Smoke on the Water too. Holy shit, I just realized that. Nope. Damn, how's that go? Nope. Yeah, and if you're still listening, yes, some of it is very torturing. But it's all right. That's why we're here. Damn. There's another note in there. Dana. It's Dana. Nope. Sort of. Like that. I will look that one up too. That's a fun song as well. But I have not dropped the Peavey down. I don't know, what do you guys think about the new just messing around. But all the way up and down, this thing sounds real clean. I actually run out of room. But this is not bad. Like, this sounds better than it did before. It's doing that, and it didn't do that before, which is awesome. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna drop it down. Of course! We're gonna drop it down. Of course. I think I'm gonna get new tuners for the Predator too. Some of these turn so hard, I think I'm gonna break the string, but it's not. It's just the tuners they're 30-year-old tuners. They're stock. They've never been serviced, oiled, greased, or whatever you do to the tuners at all. I don't even know if you do that to them or not. So I think I might get some new tuners. Any recommendation on tuners, let me know, fellas. I know a lot of you guys out there are avid guitar enthusiasts across the board, from setup to knowing all the little intricate things. I've stumbled across a few different ones on Amazon and Stu Mac. However, I'm sure some of you have had real life experience with different kinds of tuners. I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are on them, on what brands or what style. The middle setting for this guitar sounds, I think, probably the second best to the top Seymour Duncan. Down low sounds pretty badass too. Using a little Packrat tonight. Let's try another setting. Some of these are really low. Still learning this fretboard. That struggle is real and will take a while, I suspect. Fiddle diddling I stumbled across called inversion. We're going to tune this back up because it works better that way. But invert, see, this thing's it's so stiff. It's close enough. So, this interesting little inversion stuff that I didn't realize that Hendrix did. So it's like a power chord. But it's the other way around. I'm going to butcher this to no end. Just stumbled across this. Maybe it was down here. Something like that. There, you flip it around, and again, I'm still learning where this stuff is, and I'm so new at chords, it's just scary. But if you do, kind of sounds cool. That sounds cool. Kind of cool. That's just basically another power chord. Another note in there somewhere. Oh, you know what? Nope, too high. I don't know what this is, but it sounds cool. Well, that's kind of cool. What does that do? I'm not sure what that is just yet because I haven't figured out the names of all that, but this is how I usually figure stuff out. And I know this is a very non-traditional way of learning guitar, but I spend a lot of time on the guitar and it's very enjoyable, and you just keep moving around. And so many different teachers I've read or heard in videos talk about, don't worry if you hit the, and these are, I don't want to say teachers, these are actually, brain doesn't want to work. I think Marcus Miller said it. Victor Wooten has said it. And some of their like tutorials and whatnot. If you hit the wrong note, the right note is only a little up or a little down away. And I love that because it allows me, not that I don't take anything away from books and a very traditional curriculum way of learning, but it is so much fun. Like, I don't know what this is called. I couldn't tell you the notes on it. Well, I could probably figure it out slowly, but it just sounds cool. These chords are challenging to play, there's no doubt about that. get that shit down, damn it. I keep muting that dead string, damn. That's kind of cool. I like that. Oh, that's a stretch. That is a reach, man. How far can you move that? I like that actually. There we go. It's a chord of some type, not sure what. Double check the camera, see what we're doing. Oh, we're over 30 minutes, and that is mission accomplished. All right, well, a little bit of chord work tonight. I think the triad book comes in tomorrow. Just a little triad book, another book that I done. It's very specific to arpeggios and triads. I think triads. Again, whole new learning process. And for those of you wonderful guitar loving saints that are still hanging out and are still listening, thank you so much for letting me torture your ears. All right, yeah, the beer epic fail. I have to do a little cleanup on that. Day 35 of 365 days of guitar practice. I think even with that sleeping purring cat. Peace. See you tomorrow.